Welcome back to the class, everyone. I need to say before we really get going here that this is going to be complete speculation as of right now. We do not have any confirmation from the developers, nor do we have anything confirmed from a data mine to say that we are getting double drops for May the 4th. That being said, we have pretty good reason to believe it is actually going to happen, and we will talk about that a little bit more later on in the video. But that does beg the question, if double drops are indeed coming, what do we need to do to prepare for them? Now, before we get into all of the math of actually hoarding for this and what days you need to start, you might be asking yourself, Calvin, why are you making a video about speculation? You almost never do that. And the reason is really twofold. Number one, this is just kind of what CG has been doing over the last couple of years. When we dig up old posts from the SWGOH forums, we see that in 2023, we got double drops across all nodes from May the 4th to May 6th. When you go back another year in 2022, you will see essentially the same thing, not on May 6th, but that's really not important when it comes to hoarding. And in 2021, we got the same exact thing as well. So not only is this what CG typically does, but in addition to that, and you'll see this once we pull up our Excel sheet, we really might want to start hoarding our energy today, depending on what you are able to do. And again, we'll get to all the nuances of that. So removing our speculation banner there just for a second. For anyone who's not really understanding what we mean by hoarding, I mean, if we are going to be getting double drops on May the 4th, that means any energy that we come into May the 4th with is essentially going to be worth double, because everything that we will be farming, we will be getting double of. So with that being said, we want to have as much energy as possible. So one of the tricks out there that we can do is every day leading up to that, we can come in here and we can do the 50 crystal refreshes on our energy, not spend it, but let that energy accrue beyond the natural 144 barrier that is there, and then sit on it, and then do it again the next day and the next day until we eventually hit May the 4th, where we can spend all of it for double the value. There are some caveats to this, like the fact that these first three energies here, they only allow us to go up to 1,000, and then our gold normal energy will allow us to go up to 2,000. In addition to that, Cantina does not start at a 50 crystal refresh, it starts with 100, so just keep that in mind. So now that we have a good idea of what we're trying to do, let's go ahead and get on to how do we actually make this happen. And for that, we have the previously mentioned spreadsheet here. So what is going to happen over the process of the days that we hoard is we aren't actually going to be losing energy. Like I previously mentioned, once you hit that cap of 144 for the energy, you will stop naturally accruing said energy. That being said, this is going to allow us to hoard every single day 495 of normal energy, 405 of the others. That calculation is gotten by using the 350 crystal refreshes for 360 energy, and then 45 from the bonus energy that we get throughout the day. Now, what is going to ultimately happen is when we get to the actual double drops, assuming they are happening, put the speculation banner back up, is that we are actually going to be netting 255 energy, because the hoarded energy we put away that we will eventually use, we are going to be using it for double the value. This ends up giving us a real crystal advantage, because the only other way to really get energy is to buy it with crystals, and this is essentially what we make away with per day that we end up doing it. So that's really the whole purpose behind hoarding, is we take the small sacrifice now of not using the 240 energy so that our 400 energy is worth double later on, and we ultimately end up profiting more because of that. So that is the general idea. Now, the question becomes, when do we need to start? Because this is important. You can't just start whenever, because the energy itself, as we mentioned before, do have real caps. So there becomes a perfect time to actually start doing this. And it is going to be different across the energies, because as again, we also mentioned, we can only go up to 2,000 normal energy. Rather, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. You can only keep buying more energy with those 50 crystal refreshes once you are below 2,000. What this essentially means is we can get to 1,999 and then buy one last refresh to top it off. So if we are trying to plan this out perfectly, we need to start today with normal energy, ending the day, that's what these numbers are for, ending the day with 634 energy on 4/30 being the day this was posted. Then we can immediately come into May the 1st or May 1st and get this amount of energy purely by doing our 350 crystal refreshes that we talked about, adding in all of the bonus energy. So that way we repeat this process every single day to the point where on the night of May 3rd, we've got 2,000 energy sitting there. May the 4th rolls around and we're able to spend all of it for a much higher value. We're going to repeat this process with the other 3 types of energy. The only thing that is going to differ is we not only want to start later, but we want to start with a smaller amount because the cap is a lot lower, so we can't start as far out because there isn't that much energy to take advantage of. Granted, you can still get a little bit of worth out of this, but at the same time, it just has a naturally lower cap, so we can only do what we can do. Now, there are a few considerations with not spending essentially any energy throughout this entire process. The first one is, if I'm not able to spend any of my energy while I'm doing this whole hoarding process, then how do I hit my dailies? So there is one way to kind of cheat your way out of this, and that is to essentially pad your energy from day one with enough surplus so that every single day that you are hoarding, you can do the bare minimum to hit those dailies to make sure that you can keep getting the crystal income that way as well. What this looks like practically is going to take us to this table over here to the right. So if you compare it with the table above it, you're going to notice that the numbers are larger, especially when you go farther back to the left. So when we look at our first day here, we see that we want to end the April 30th with 634 energy. But with the modified table, we are going to take that same exact number and add 108. The reason why we're adding 108 energy is because that will give us 36 energy over the next 3 following days to be able to do the bare minimum we need to be able to get our energy in and make sure that we hit those dailies. You can repeat this process with fleet energy, with the mod energy, and with the canteen energy. What the magical number needs to be, whether it's 36, 24, 60, or 48, really is going to come out to your own needs, and it really boils down to how many hard node characters are you currently farming and how many are really important that you don't put on hold even for a couple of days. When we bring this example to life with myself, I actually can't hoard normal energy at all because I need to be not only farming Boss Nass, but refreshing his node multiple times a day so that I make sure that I can get Jar Jar on May 2nd. So for me, this is really non-negotiable. I'm not even going to be doing this at all. But if you only have 1 or 2 characters out that you're currently farming, or really you're willing to put them all off just so you can get more value to be able to farm something like Chirotech, you can just use this to make sure that you can hit those dailies on top of everything else. Now, one of the other problems that does come up when you hoard all your energy and don't spend it over several days is that you miss out on raid tickets. And essentially the solution to this is actually going to be my same Boss Nass solution, is you just don't hoard normal energy at all. And that kind of begs the question, well, why are we even making this video in the first place if the solution is to not do it? Is you can still hoard the other 3 energy very well. And in addition to that, if you are really just wanting more normal energy, you can actually do the reverse, because canteen energy counts towards the raid tickets. So you can do the whole calculation here with your normal energy, having 2,000 all the way built up for double drops, and still hit your raid tickets daily, but it's going to require you to spend all of your canteen energy. And for most people out there, signal data ends up being the most important thing, so maybe that's not what you want to do, but you are going to have to cater it to your own roster. So those are the 2 main concerns when we look at hoarding, because not having your energy every day sometimes isn't the best thing in the world, but we do have solutions to them. The other 2 concerns, and we've kind of talked about these quite a bit, is the fact that this might just not happen at all, and that's something that we're going to have to accept if you do want to start doing this. If you don't want to do it at all, then that's also fine. I guess it's probably riskier just because this has happened for the last 3 years, and at the same time, we haven't really even gotten news on the rest of the goodies that we typically get for May the 4th, so I feel like we're just missing a very large announcement in general where this will come up. Now, that does actually lead into concern number 4, and that is, we don't actually know, even if these are coming, if they're going to be across all 4 energies, not having any nuances between hard nodes and the normal nodes. And I mentioned that because there have been other dates, not May the 4th, but there have been other dates where we have gotten double drops, and they've made it really specific and weird to, like, on Monday, we're going to have light side hard nodes will give double drops or an additive drop, and then on Tuesday, it'll be fleet energy, and then on Wednesday, it'll be mod energy, but only the ones in the hard node area. So it's basically what I'm getting at is even if we are getting these, it might not exactly look like, and that is a legitimate concern. So this is going to ultimately be your decision on what you want to do with your energy. Because the reality is you might ultimately end up taking the hit rather than getting, you know, all these extra crystals worth of value by getting all the extra energy. So it's ultimately going to depend on what you want to do. I warned you as much as I could, but thank you everyone for watching the video. Until the next time, stay awesome.